It's almost been 2 years since we saw this combination. Yep, that's a Sorcery Blade, and that's a Yilger. So, do they still work? Hey guys, Akariss here, bringing you a brand new Fire Emblem Heroes video, as usual. So, today's video will be a little bit different, as you probably noticed by the title of the stream. To put it simply, kind of like the TLDR of this whole video, I have been impressed with the sort of seals we've gotten lately. And I want to take this as a good discussion, opinion piece for you guys to listen into, and what I truly think are some good changes for Fire Emblem Heroes. And I know there's been a bit of criticism, maybe more harsher opinions lately, but there is always some good stuff to be had, and this video will definitely cover my positive thoughts on actually today's focus, which is seals. So seals have, I feel like we've climbed a mountain, we've gone through a bunch of garbage, and finally we're getting some interesting stuff. So if you've been watching some of my gameplay on like Twitch, or maybe just heard some of my opinions through Discord or Twitch or YouTube or whatever that might be, you'll know that I'm actually a big user of Sorcery Blade. And not the skill, no, not the AA skill, the seal. I do actually use Sorcery Blade quite a bit, and it's pretty good. But I also want to talk about some of the other seals that have been released, such as the one you see right under me, and what this could mean for some of the future seals to come, and maybe some good stuff, hopeful, positive things that we can look forward to, I hope. So, with that being said, I'm going to go through some of the seals that currently exist and have been like released recently, plus some that I really think could change the game in a more positive or at least creative way going down. So first we'll touch on Honed Dragons. Now Honed Dragons may seem like a pretty like whatever seal to you guys. You're just like, what? Okay, cool, this only affects dragons. If you think about it for a moment, especially in like Ether Raids, and it doesn't have to be Ether Raids, but Ether Raids especially, if you think of like Naga and Mila, two offense dragons that are used in both Light and Astra, you'll realize that they both have preference skills. They have Mila's Turnwheel and Divine Fang, which are both very good in their own rights, and not usually worth taking out. Sometimes you can make an argument for taking off Divine Fang, but the thing that's interesting about this is if you use Dragon Core units, you can now officially pretty much just put this stuff on the seal slot and keep that preference skill. And this is actually really important if you use Dragon units or Dragon Cores. And I'm gonna really exaggerate this because you're probably one of the few people who might have something like a +10 Spring Athun over there, but that's a really good example of basically using your seals efficiently, your skills efficiently. Now it doesn't have to be Spring Athun, it could really be any dragon realistically. It's just Spring Athun is one of the best dragons in the game because she can nullify her weaknesses, whereas the other ones at least suffer in some regard to the dragon weakness. What's interesting here is you can pretty much have Naga be a sole super buffer on your team. Pretty much running Divine Fang, Honed Dragons, and Defense Reslink, and boom, she's like literally the sole unit that can support a dragon, and that's really cool, while also providing Divine Fang. Now on Light Season, the same thing can be done. Mila's Turnwheel, Honed Dragon Seal, Defense Reslink, boom, you got one unit pretty much buffing everything, and that's really efficient, really cool. It's so simple, but it's so effective. Now, why Honed Dragons itself is interesting is because this could possibly create a precedent for Honed Flyers, Honed Armors, Honed Cav, Fort versions of these skills, and really create a more efficient, dynamic building, like team preparation, and just nice feeling. Like imagine Air can use Sparkling Boost and Honed Flyers. Even Naga could use Divine Fang and Honed Flyers, for example. And if you have teams that are more emblem based, like you have a full flyer team, this is awesome. I really appreciate a seal like this. Believe it or not, it's much better than I think most people give it credit for. And if it brings in Honed Flyers, Gold Flyers, Word Flyer seals, stuff like this, it'll make team comp creation very nice to do. Moving on though, of course, as you noticed by the beginning, I did touch on Sorcery Blade, and that is worth talking about as always. What I want to definitely encourage or even show you what I've been literally using in Arena is this. Literally a Sorcery Blade high attack unit. Now, as an A skill, Sorcery Blade is probably super poop, like really bad because it because it competes with like very good A skills, like distant counter, close counter, for instance, are almost very mandatory for a lot of units to create good matchups. Whereas Sorcery Blade on a seal doesn't conflict with that because we don't have distant counter and close counter on a seal, and I don't expect to see that. I'm not going to cover it here, but because it sells. But basically putting it on a seal, making sure you have like some tome unit nearby is huge. It is huge to have a partner that can activate a seal like this and create a dynamic where you beat low-res units. For example, Alm and Chrom, well, Chrom beats Itsuki, but Alm loses to Itsuki in almost every case. So you can do this with anyone. It doesn't have to be Itsuki. It's just my personal unit that I've been using. I've actually been using my plus 10 Aversa, our dual flying with guidance, and Itsuki basically summoner ally supported combined with that to make a really very satisfying arena experience. And I didn't predict this. I did not see Sorcery Blade Seal and was like, wow, that's it. I can now officially beat arena. It kind of hit me later. I was like, you know, Alm has some pretty low res. I'm struggling to beat Alm. What can I do? I have Aversa as a tome user. I have the seal that I don't think is that good. Like the skill itself doesn't seem that good. But then you're like adaptive damage, high attack unit. Boom. The most Alms run sturdy impact. They buff their defense. So, okay, that's fine. We'll just hit his res. Sorcery Blade. Wow, good seal. So a double take on a lot of this stuff was really good, really interesting to me. But we're not just going to talk about Sorcery Blade, of course, or Hone Dragons. I want to move on and even look at stuff that most people may not even consider to be useful. For example, here's Phantom Res. Now, Phantom Res at first impression is like, oh, it's just like Phantom Speed. But at least with Phantom Speed, I could use Repel or Close Call or Spurn and reduce damage. No, one of the most important things with Phantom Res, and probably not realized enough if you're like from first impression, is you throw this on a unit who's using a res check for debuffs, sabotage attack, defense, speed, or res. And of course, the most important thing, Tamari, as shown here. A +1 Tethys right there with 5 flowers, which can now go up to 10, and 10 merges, means you have a very good unit for both panic, long-range support, dancing, and debuffs with attack and speed. Very competitive with something like Aversa, if not better than Aversa, to be honest. So look at the seal and combine it with all these supportive stuff, and you have a very good seal. Who knows in the future what sort of units may also take advantage of stuff like this? Like Phantom Speed came way before Repel, Close Call, and Spurn, so we may get units who check res as some sort of dynamic of power. Of course, I think NY Selkie has something like this, and she could probably use the seal, but like any NY Selkie is far too niche of a unit to really think about right now. But seals like this are interesting. Better than wave skills, thank you. Better than the defiant or seal skills, thank you. You know, like we need more of these type of seals. And I'm so happy to see them. I'm very hopeful now. Every Tempest Trials I see, that could mean, wow, we're getting some actual different type of usage for this stuff. Now, moving on though, these are the ones we've recently had. They've been pretty good. I'm going to talk about probably some controversial stuff. Okay, controversial meaning I actually hope seals like this come to existence, but a lot of you may disagree, and that's fine. Feel free to let me know in the comments below. I'm totally okay with that. You can voice your own opinion as well. Be my guest. I do read most comments, even if I don't respond to them. I do actually read most of them, and I do take those opinions and even discuss them on my stream plenty of times on Twitch. So feel free to be part of that if you want to. No harm. Moving on though, and this one of course will probably surprise some of you. It is, of course, Vantage Seal. Yes, I actually would like to see this. And first thing I think of is like, okay, like let's just make another Kronia kind of version of a Vantage user. And boom, there you go. Gangrel is now a superb unit. Vantage, special spiral with Glimmer, of course, because it scales better with the extra attack and lowering defense through dagger debuffs. And you have this really, you know, everyone just kind of becomes, has like different build options. Of course, if you have a Vantage Seal, you could also run Disarm Trap in the B, so you make even your engagements much easier to do. So this is something I hope actually happens. Despite Kronia being unique, I don't want a meta where like Kronia is the only viable Vantage unit. That's not the sort of gameplay I want. especially when there's like so many dagger users and so many favorites that people might have. So Yeah, I mean, a Vantage Seal would be really cool. Somebody like Gangrel, Chad, Soth, even really old dagger users like Gaius or Jacob, whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is, the build options shouldn't be locked specifically to one unit, and there should be some flexibility. These other units with preference weapons can get the job done as well. So I am a fan of seeing possibly a Vantage Seal. Now these are the example builds that I've covered. I'm not going to cover any more. Sorry, Gangrel, it's time to go. What I want to talk about now is possibly other seals that we might see in the future that actually could change the way in a really dynamic way. So feel free to actually let me know in the comments what you think of these seals, how they could affect the game, what you think it'll be broken. Like, I don't think so, but you know, voice your opinion, let me know. Fury Seal, for example. Fury Seal would be really good for enabling Wings of Mercy, escape route plays, Gale Force options would open, you can soak chills from tanks better. Like, this is a really, I think it's an overdue seal personally. I mean, we have HP stat, we have attack and speed, defense res, we have seals with stats, but we don't have chip damage as a seal, and chip damage as a seal could be pretty huge to activate weapons or different skills to create some really cool strategic plays. Wings of Mercy is a seal. Believe it or not, this would also create a lot of dynamic plays, both on defense, offense, and maybe even make some cool stuff through Allegiance battles or arena stuff. Like, I could definitely see this being a cool seal as well. Hope to see it. Honestly, I feel like stuff like this they have to kind of be more confident releasing this sort of stuff. Rat Seal, yeah, I went there. Rat Seal again. You know, I don't think it should be necessarily locked for just the B skill. I mean, why not put it on a seal? Why not combine it with Vantage? Create some synergy between those skills. A unit who has like a distant counter weapon, give them Brazens, Wrath, and Vantage, all of those skills combined, and create like a super cool, you know, sturdy or super powerful unit. I'm a fan of this sort of meta shift. I want to see the game change in a way that's cool. And honestly, the seals we've gotten recently are like little baby steps towards there, but we need some fire. So let's see these things happen, but please let your voice be known. Let me hear in the comments what you guys think of these seals. Maybe some good users, some good builds for this sort of stuff, and you know, some good growth to be had. Alright folks, with that being said, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Much love. Peace.